gentlemen, welcome to Digital.Flash.Fire. This is Dan, aka Corlin. Today we're going to talk about Final Fantasy, and we're going to talk about tanking. Now, tanking is a very important role. It's definitely the one that can get the party killed the fastest. And it's one that a lot of people are interested in, but sometimes they're a little bit afraid to. This video is intended for people who really don't know a lot about tanking to begin with. If you've tanked in other MMOs and you're looking for something more specific to Final Fantasy XIV, there's other videos out there. We're going to be putting some out. But for now, this really isn't for you. This is for people who are fresh to MMOs, who are fresh to tanking, and really want it broken down Barney style. Now, first off, tanks, you're dealing with everything. You have to know pretty much all the mechanics. You have to know what's going on in the fight, even if it doesn't concern your role, because your job is to make it easier for the healers to keep up. It's to make it easier for the DPS to make their attacks, to complete their combos, and meet their positionals. So you need to be calm, you need to be focused. You know, it's really hard to tank if you're messily drunk or if you're just out of your mind pissed off. You need to be flexible. Things are going to change. People are going to want to try different strategies. And, hey, you know, it's your party. You pretty much get to tell them yes or no. But at the same time, you know, if it makes the things go faster, that's what you want to go for. On the other hand, you need to be authoritative. If people are just blatantly messing things up, you need to be able to tactfully get through to them to stop fucking up. And that's my philosophy on tanking. Other people are going to have different philosophies. For the rest of this video, we're going to go over some basics. We're going to go over aggro. We're going to go over facing mobs. We're going to go over how to deal with ads. We're going to talk about types of skills, aggro builders, debuffs, dots, cooldowns. Then we're going to go over a little bit of best practices. That's what to do to increase your ability. All right, now let's go and see what it looks like. All right, we're going to throw you in at the deep end. We're going to start with how to tank Alexander. Just kidding. We are going to use this one to show how to do some fundamental things. I'm actually picking this because it's a very short run. I'll be nice and I'll get the ads because this is actually going to show kind of what one of the big things I want to cover in this video. Now, bear with me, we do have to get to Faust. So if you look, this is the party list. You can see 2 tanks, 2 healers, 4 DPS. Hey, oh my. And there's strawberry shortcake. That's pretty awesome. Okay. So in this part of the fight, I'm waiting for ads to come off. And right now I'm just basically helping out and doing some DPS. So I see an ad come up. Now you'll notice that there is some little bars under people. And what those are the aggro table. And my job as the tank is to be on top of the aggro table. You can see up here, it's full. And that's where it needs to be. If it isn't full, then I have fucked up. You'll notice there's only a couple of other people on it because right now the rest of the party is beating up on Faust, which is exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So I am having trouble picking up ads because I am occasionally terrible at my job. And you'll notice that down here they are different colors. So Faust himself is green, and the Sturmdoll I'm picking up went from green to red. There's also yellow and orange. You want them to be red when you're the tank. Otherwise, you are not doing your job, and you are going to wipe your party. So there's that one, and this might be the last one I have to deal with. If I can, there we go. So I'm just grabbing these guys and pulling them away, and that's what my job is in this part of the fight. I'm pulling aggro. I'm using high aggro combos so that I don't have to keep beating up on these guys. Oh, looks like I'll have to pick up one more, but I've got my easy skill. Boom. Now let's look at Faust. See, he's got a messy aggro table. There's people picking up aggro. The tank has solid aggro, and that's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to get a lot of aggro on the guy so that he's not going anywhere. Boom. Guy's down. Now, I'm communicating with my party. I'm making sure they know what the heck is going on. Because getting it is, well, communication is important, and it's your job. And I'm on busy. Okay. So in this, we're going to talk about different kinds of skills. We're going to talk about aggro builders, and these are skills that when you look at them, so you have it as additional effect, increased enmity, and then on a combo, it does additional damage. Potency in this game is your damage. Oh yeah, one big thing, do not stand in the big orange circles. You should know that playing Final Fantasy, but do not stand in the big orange circles. So most tanks, you've got your aggro combo and you've got your damage combo. So I've got spinning slash and power slash, which I shouldn't be using for this, and then I've got siphon strike, and I've got soul eater, and that's my damage combo. And we have a monk, so I don't need to be doing my debuff combo. And we'll get into some of the other stuff later. Now there's also dots. Now you'll notice only does 100 potency, but it also has 40 potency every 3 seconds for 30 seconds. That one skill does 500 potency if you let it run all the way through. You want to let that skill run all the way through. Otherwise, you are not doing your job. So dots are very important because they do a ton of damage for one global cooldown. And if it's a target you're not going to be hitting lead off, well, okay, I'm going to do this because no one else is. This could get real interesting real fast. Oh, I need to do my job. So now I'm going to pick up aggro. And there he is. So now you see I'm facing him. What that means is he has some abilities that hit only to the front. And I do not want those hitting the party. So I'm going to stand here so that his front is aimed away from everything. It also means that people that have positionals can stand where they need to stand to make those positionals work. Now, occasionally they do turn away. You'll see he just dodged away from me, so whatever. And I'm going to ask for people to actually do damage to this guy because otherwise I'm going to have a very bad day. This is a pretty complicated fight. You don't have to worry about everything I'm doing in this, but it's an interesting one to watch. It's a lot of fun, and it covers everything I need to cover. Now, cooldowns are actually not so much. You know, cooldowns are not so important in this fight. Those are things like Shadow Skin, which I just popped, mostly to pop things. Oh, and back where I was. Outstanding. And again, don't stand in the bad things. That's bad. That's bad. This is good. You need to learn what's good and what's bad, and that's probably something we'll cover later. Okay, and start hitting him. And get the dot up. Get the debuff up. All right. Now we go to town with some damage because if you look at the aggro table, I am way up at the top except for the other tank. And he's not going to be going after this guy, so I don't have to worry about him. Now, I don't have to worry about the other mechanics, but you see those alarms? If the party really fucks up, I might have to run over, pick one up. carry it beneath the 3,000 tons missile and make sure that the missile doesn't nuke the party. Not something I actually need to do in this fight because the DPS is not window-licking morons. So, hey, that makes me happy. I can be a lazy tank. And let me tell you, people, tanking can be a really lazy job. The current Alexander content does not require you to be brilliant to be a tank. Honestly, I think this expansion is as hard as any on the DPS. There are so many DPS checks. There's a couple of tough healing checks, but this is a really good expansion to start a tank because it is not ridiculously challenging. That being said, don't just start a tank to start a tank. You know, do follow through. Do learn how to be good because it's going to be important later. You know, this is not the end state. There will be tank checks later on. All right, some other things to be aware of. Let's see. Ads. We kind of showed ads earlier. Basically, you need to know which abilities of yours give you time to... how to put it? Give you space, give you gap closers, basically let you get to the ads, pick them up, especially as the off tank. Now, you might have a fight that doesn't have an off tank. There's some in Brayflocks. There's a couple of really nasty ads that you're going to have to pick up as the main tank. So again, know which abilities give you ranged pickup, know which abilities give you a ranged aggro. You know, for example, provoke. Get provoke. Don't be bad. I see so many warriors and so many DKs that even now in 3.0 don't have provoke, and it makes me want to cry. Oh, we don't have a caster LB. Fuck it. We'll do this the hard way. All right, folks, that is pretty much everything for this, which is good timing because Oppressor's about to die. Boom. All right, folks, back to the beach for some final thoughts. First off, some best practices. Watch videos, whether it's MTQ Capture, whether it's Mr. Happy, whatever source. Don't go into the dungeon not knowing what the hell you're going to do. Go into the dungeon knowing what the fights are, knowing how to get through, knowing what the mechanics are. Watch some videos on your class and other classes to see how the really good players are playing them. Take advantage of all the resources out there. Learn to play. Skill knowledge. All right, look, these tooltips are here for a reason. Some skills are really easy, like hard slash. Some skills, well, they're not so easy. Let's look at this. We've got Dark Passenger. Deals unaspected damage with a potency of 150 to all enemies in a straight line before you. Can only be used. So you have to be in dark side. It's an AoE skill that goes in front of you. It's untargeted, so you don't have to be targeting anyone. If you cast Dark Arts, the potency goes way up, and it blinds targets for 15 seconds. That's a skill you're going to have to think about. Know your cross-class skills. I've got a whole bunch of I cannot speak English. I've got a whole bunch of cross-class skills. Probably some of them aren't the right ones, but we'll get into that later. And it really helps to know which ones you need and which ones you don't need. There are other classes where I don't have key cross-class skills, and it makes me feel really bad. Also, inspections. You can... Well, I doubt there's anyone around here. Before you get into parties and they're like, oh, do big pulls, do this. Look at other people's gear. If you see someone that looks like me and you inspect him and you're like, oh, he's got, an item level of 186, hey, great. Big pulls are absolutely fine. On the other hand, if you've got someone and they're saying big pulls, and they've got a 144, yeah, maybe you need to slow down. That guy's not going to keep, that healer's not going to keep you alive. The damage dealer is not going to be doing enough damage, and you are going to get eaten alive if you try to do big pulls with that guy. All right, folks, for Digital.Flash.Fire, this is Dan. Thank you very much for bearing with me. I know it's a longer video. Have a good day.